good evening, everyone. As I had mentioned in the last class, we'll be discussing about invention which is related to chemistry today, and we have a guest speaker, or the expert in the chemistry, who would be teaching us about how to draft the claim, as well as the abstract or title with respect to the chemistry related invention. What I'm going to do is, for everyone's information, I think I had so I'll go through this invention in next, let's say, 3 to 4 minutes, and then hand it over to Shweta, who is a expert in chemistry. She carries, I believe, more than a decade's experience with pharmaceutical patents, especially with respect to the chemistry. She has worked on both the drug discovery as well as the API front, and she would be actually taking us through the entire specification. So the question, this is from December 2008. State the forms required for filing a patent application in India and draft a complete specification along with abstract on the basis of information given by your client as follows. Now, the client says, I'm in possession of an invention which relates to aspirin isopropyl antipyrine. उसका chemical name दिया हुआ है, a novel compound shown by the formula 1 and a process for producing the same. So this invention has a product as well as a process for preparing the same, and it's used as an analgesic, antipyretic and anti-inflammatory agent. Now the formulas are provided. Now it is already known that aspirin, that is acetyl salicylic acid, is widely used as a relatively safe antipyretic, analgesic, anti-inflammatory agent. It, however, has the drawback that it has gastric ulcerogenic activity, with the consequence that it causes nausea, loss of appetite, and even induces gastric disorders like peptic ulcer, hemorrhage of stomach at times. Especially in case when aspirin is administered in very large doses, say for the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis or rheumatic diseases, care must be exercised to guard against gastric disorder which are ascribable to the ingestion of aspirin. मतलब aspirin अगर large quantities में administer होता है, तो it may cause gastric problems, especially in cases जहाँ पे वो large quantities में, large doses में administer हो रहा है. And they have given one example, that is rheumatic diseases, like for example rheumatoid arthritis. Furthermore, aspirin is hygroscopic. This is what we are speaking about, the API. Hence, as aspirin not only is decomposed by moisture, but when it is mixed with other drugs, for example, other antipyretic and analgesics, it becomes moist and discolored at times. So based on this, I believe for sure this is the part of the background. Now everyone can very easily understand it. Now it was found that this novel compound, the inventor who has come to you, he has found a novel compound that can be expressed by the foregoing formula 1 while possessing superior analgesic, antipyretic, anti-inflammatory activities. So compared to aspirin, it has got a superior activities, therapeutic activity, demonstrates marked reduction of such activities as cause gastric disorders. मतलब reduction in the gastric disorders that are possessed by aspirin and the side effects of the pyrazolone type antipyretic and analgesic preparation. Moreover, this compound is also not hygroscopic. It is hence a unique compound possessing good stability. So there are two advantages. One is that it has lesser side effects like the gastric disorders and all, and second one is that it is not hygroscopic, easy to handle, as well as it doesn't get decomposed by moisture. Now the aspirin isopropyl antipyrine of formula 1 of this invention can be prepared by reacting. They have given one particular compound of the formula 2 with either acetyl salicylic acid, मतलब acetyl salicylic acid या उसके derivative के साथ वो compound mix करो, तो you would be getting this new compound. Further, the composition in such in a form such as exemplified herein, or the formula compound itself can be administered. मतलब जब आप formulation बना रहे हो तो the dosing should be 0.02 to about 0.08 gram per kg body per day. Now, the composition of the invention can be administered through various routes like injectable, like oral, or a parenteral, like for example, suppository as well. Now, comparative tests of gastric ulcerogenicity activity for aspirin and AIA were carried out on fasted rats, and the test compounds were administered orally. The stomachs were removed 7 hours later, and the lengths of lesions in the glandular portion were measured, which are given in table 1. That means what they have done is stomach में gastric ulcers हो रहे हैं कि नहीं, they have compared for aspirin and this second compound, and the results are as such provided. Now, if you see aspirin के case में 4.13 centimeter is the length of the stomach lesion, that is those symptoms of ulcer, and in case of AIA, the new compound, it is just 0.11, and it's with the same dose. Now, like as apparent, little or no injury. So AIA से आपको बहुत कम injury हो रहा है with respect to stomach. So this is basically a preclinical study that they have done, wherein they have got lesser side effects. Now, how is that compound produced? So process for preparing the compound: aspirin was dissolved in 400 ml chloroform, after which the solution was cooled at 0 degree. Dicyclohexyl carbodiamide was then added to the solution, followed by stirring the mixture for 30 minutes, and thereafter adding 19.6 gram of another compound. The mixture was stirred at room temperature for 24 hours. The precipitate of dicyclohexylurea formed was filtered off, and the solvent was distilled off under reduced pressure. Those who are coming from chemistry background can very easily understand this, right? The residue was dissolved in 150 ml of chloroform again, and this solution was added to column packed with 1.8 liters of silica gel, and its stage-wise elution was performed using chloroform and methanol. The elutes were analyzed by thin layer chromatography. The eluted fractions exhibiting only the spot at RF 0.52 were collected and concentrated under reduced pressure. The concentrate was purified by crystallizing. So basically, ये पूरा process दे रहे how to prepare that particular compound that has been provided to you. And finally, this is example 1. Second example is about the composition, and the composition is AIA 250 mg, cornstarch 120 mg, lactose 122 mg, HPC, which is a binder, as 5 mg, talc 1.5, and max TRS at 1 mg. Now, this is the invention. Inventor has come to you. The instructions are, this is for 30 marks. State the forms required for filing a patent application in India, and draft a complete specification with abstract on the basis of this particular information. So class, basically, as I mentioned, Shweta is going to actually, she's going to provide us all the details. But just class, one thing I wanted to let you know here is that she has prepared her own slides, and she has her own way of teaching. So you may find a bit different than the way, we usually conduct the class. So I hope this would be something as a different experience for you as well, and you would be in a position to understand this chemistry related invention as well. So over to you, Shweta. You can share your screen.
So hi all, this is Shweta, and some problem. Okay, just a minute. So I would start with my presentation and share the thing so that okay. So today we are going to discuss this patent drafting thing for chemistry, December 2008, from December 2008. The question 2 has been already discussed by sir. So let's go proceed further. A little background about me. I'm a master's in organic chemistry, a law graduate, and a registered patent agent since 2010, having around a decade of experience in pharmaceutical sectors in patent research and drafting of the patent design orders. So let's start. So first thing, now you can see which are the forms are to be filed. I'm sure you might know which are forms which are supposed to be filed with a patent application. So form 1, which is a patent application. Second is patent specification, whether it is a complete specification or provisional specification. Form 2 needs to be filed with it. Form 3 is statement and undertaking, and section which is under section 8. Then comes form 5, which is a declaration of inventorship. So this 4 forms are to be filed with the application, and one cover letter is to be there so that the application proceeds. Next comes, first, when you get the question paper, the main thing you have to do is you have to identify the key features of it. Most important, what are the features of the inventions, what is being described in the question, in the information provided. So in the present scenario, the 3 main key features which are being described is a novel compound, which is having been described in very first paragraph. Also the structure is being given, formula 1. Then comes the process for preparation of this novel compound, wherein the process is being described. The reactive acetyl salicylic acid is being used for reaction, and then compound is being formed. So that is the process, second thing. And third thing, which is an important key feature of this, is the pharmaceutical composition, which has been mentioned as a example 2. So these are the 3 main features. So more or less your patent is more or less not full of your patent is going to be around this 3 components only. So it's very important to identify the key features of the patent of the information you have been provided. Next comes the anatomy of the patent specification. Again, there is a title, there's preamble to the description, field of invention, background and prior art, object of the invention, summary, detailed description of the invention, then comes examples, and then claims and abstract. So when you are talking about a complete specification, all these items are to be, they are supposed to be there in the specification. When you are talking about the provisional specification, then the preamble changes and does not necessary to put abstract and claims in this specification. So it is not mandatory to put claims and the abstract. Next, so now we'll discuss each and every part of the patent specification in detail. So now you can see the title of the invention should be very precise. It should not it should not be more than 50 words. It should indicate the subject matter. So in present scenario, there can be multiple titles which you can put in, but a good title can be an aspirin isopropyl antipyrine compound. This is the name of the compound which has been mentioned in the first paragraph of the question paper, and the process for preparation of the same. It can also be an aspirin isopropyl antipyrine compound and a pharmaceutical composition comprising the same, or it can be an analgesic, antipyretic, pyretic, and anti-inflammatory agent and its process. So there can be multiple ways of writing a title, but it should be very precise and very short and very specific. It should relate to the information provided. Next comes preamble to the description. So this is not mandatory thing, but when I gave my patent agent examination, I felt it was very important, because preamble for the patent specification is different for provisional specification, and it is different for complete specification. So it is just one sentence, and the difference is only the provisional specification. In provisional specification, the preamble says the following specification describes the invention, and that's it. But in complete specification, the following specification particularly is the important thing, particularly describes the invention and the manner in which it is performed. So if you can, you know, memorize this two sentence, it would be easier for you for any specification, for any, not only chemistry related draft, for any draft if you're writing in for any field. If you memorize these 2 points, it would be very helpful for you. So even the examiner, the person who is, you know, going through your paper, they know, okay, they know there is that this difference is there between these two specifications. So I feel you should memorize this. Next is field of invention. After the title, there is a preamble to the description, and then there is a field of invention, which is the important part again. The field of invention should not be more than 2 to 3 sentences. It is very small paragraph, and it's just a general statement about invention that shows the scope of the invention. Preferably, it begins with the present invention relates to. This is the starting point of it. The present invention relates to so and so and so things. The present invention relates to field of chemistry. The present invention relates to field of pharmaceutical sector. Or the present invention. So in present scenario, we know the particular compound it is being talked about. So in present scenario, the a good way of writing would be the present invention relates to aspirin isopropyl antipyrine compound of Formula 1. The invention further relates to, so it is written, it is further relating to something else as well. So it further relates to a process for preparation of the compound of Formula 1. So now if you go back to the title, I'll show it to you again. If you go back to the title, I've mentioned a compound and a process. And when I'm coming back to the field of invention, both things are mentioned over here as well. Okay. So when you go forward, the invention further relates to a process for preparation of compound of Formula 1 and its utilization as an analgesic, antipyretic, and anti-inflammatory agent. This is also being given in the question paper. It is also in the first or second paragraph of the question paper. Next comes background and prior art of the invention. So background of and prior art of the invention is only, we just keep this in mind, that we need to only highlight the problems which are associated with the prior art, and do not give any solution in the background and prior art section. So the section covers answers to the question like, what is the need of invention? Why is it required? What was known earlier? What are the problems that are present in the invention? What are the problems with the prior art with the present invention proposed to solve? Previous attempts, if any, were made. This all comes in the background and prior art. The solution of these problems need not be mentioned in this section, as I told you. Once the problem is highlighted, it is better, you know, if you highlight your problem, it is better to sell your invention. It's like, okay, this has this problem, and our invention solves this problem. That's why there is a need of it. We have to bring it out while writing why there is a need of the invention. So this is very obvious that it has to, the background and prior art would have patents, would have applications which are mentioned in the description given to you, or journal articles, or whatever is mentioned in the question paper. You need to bring it out over here in background and prior art. So in current scenario, if you read the second paragraph, if I can show you, see, the second paragraph completely reads about its background and what was known. Aspirin was known. Then aspirin has few problems, which are gastro-ulcerogenic activity. Then it has peptic ulcer. It used to give peptic ulcers when administered in higher doses. It used to give the rheumatic diseases. Then it had a problem of hygrophobicity, and it used to decompose by moisture. So these are all the problems which are associated with the prior art. Now we need to give them the solution. So to overcome these problems, we have developed a new compound. so which can be used, and it is not hygroscopic and all this. You have to bring it out when you are writing it. Okay. So second paragraph is all about background and prior art. Then comes object of the invention, which is what is the aim of your invention, what you want to achieve through this invention. So the object of the invention basically starts what is the main object of it? The main object of the invention is to provide a compound, or it is to provide a process for preparation of certain compound, or it is whatever it is. It is a main object of the invention is to provide a pharmaceutical composition which can be used as an analgesic, anti-inflammatory, or antipyretic. So this is very important. Okay, what our object of the invention is, what we aim to give out from this invention, whatever the benefits are. Then comes the summary and the statement of the invention. This section provides a sense of the entire inventive subject matter. So it is in a short 1 or 2 paragraphs, you have to describe whole of the invention, whatever is there. So here all the 3 main key features which were there: compound, the process, and pharmaceutical composition. All three aspects would be covered in this text. It should be very concise, and the language used in this used from the starting should be consistent. You cannot use different languages in different segments. Like once you are writing a compound, and once you're writing a compound of Formula 1, then you have to stick to it. You cannot write once and aspirin, isopropyl, antipyrine of Formula 1, and once compound of Formula 1. So you have to be consistent throughout the patent specification. So a examiner can relate it back to, like, okay, this has been mentioned in the description, this has been mentioned in the summary, and that's why it is there also in the claims. So more or less, the summary of the invention is claims, independent claims, which you are going to put up. So it should not, yeah. One more important thing is summary of the invention should not recite the advantages of the invention, or should not put up the limitation of the inventions as well. In present scenario, the summary of the invention can be read as according to an aspect. So mostly the aspects are, summary is telling you what are the aspects of the invention. So there are 3 aspects over here. So just keep this word in your mind. Okay, it is talking about aspects. So according to an first aspect of the present invention, it is a novel compound that is being disclosed. Then if you can just give a structural representation of that compound. Second is, what is another aspect of the invention? It is a process. Third aspect of the invention is the pharmaceutical composition. So these are the 3 aspects of the invention currently. Then come detailed description. So whatever is given on your paper, question paper, right now in this 2008 question paper, whatever is given, everything should be coming in the detailed description, except for the second paragraph which we have put in background and prior art, because background and prior art is not the part of detailed description. It completely describes the invention under the consideration. The description together with the claim defines the boundaries of the patent protection. We need to give detailed information, wherein by starting with the overview in form of broad embodiment. Like we need to start with the broader version of the claims, a broader version of the invention, and then narrow it down. It would be a funnel, like broader one things comes first, and then you have to narrow it down.
Shweta,
then, yeah.
Just to interrupt you, just wanted to know, in case of detailed description, when you mentioned that question paper में जैसे लिखा है, all those paragraphs except the background part, we need to kind of replicate it as it is, right? And with funneling approach.
We don't have to write same whatever, but we do not have to miss out any information which is being given in the question paper.
So that means we can actually, for example, when we speak specifically about the example, जो दिया हुआ है, composition दिया हुआ है, we can we put it in our own language instead of the one which has been.
Yes, the examples can be put up in the your own language in a better way, the way you understand it, and mostly in the past tense.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So it has to be, examples are to be put up in the past tense, and yes, whatever is provided in the question paper, everything should come down in the description, detailed description.
But we can use our own language for that. That's right.
Yes, you can use your own languages.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah.
So the description together with the claim section defines the boundaries of the patent protection. We need to give detailed information herein by starting with the overview in form of the broader embodiments. So like when we are writing a detailed description for the example which we have taken now. So the embodiment would go like, according to an embodiment of the present invention, there is provided a process for preparation of compound 1. I am just omitting the name of the compound 1. So the second part would say the process for preparation of the compound 1 comprises reaction with a reaction of reactants A and B. Third would come to the reaction is carried out in presence of some base, or what coupling agent is used. Sometimes a base is used in presence of something, a catalyst is used for the reaction. So whatever is being used, you have to just narrow it. You cannot mention it in the first instance. I would suggest you not to mention in the first instance, because it would give you a broader scope. So from the broader thing, you have to come down and narrow it down to what the example exactly is. So the first, if I have to give you an example, A plus B gives C. So in this, when I'm writing a process claim, I would write a process for preparation of C, wherein wherein A is reacted with B. Later on, I would write wherein the reaction is carried out in presence of a catalyst. Third, wherein the catalyst used is palladium. I'm just taking an this example, reduction example, maybe sodium borohydride, palladium, platinum. All these are the reducing agent catalysts which are being used in the normally in normal reactions, reduction reactions. So next, okay, and now catalyst is being covered, but this reaction also consists of a solvent. Then it would come, okay, this reaction is also carried out in presence of a solvent. Then this solvent can be a polar solvent or it can be a non-polar solvent. Then what are the polar solvent? You'll list it out. What are the non-polar solvent? You'll list that out. Then come the reaction conditions. What is the temperature? What is the pressure? This is, I'm talking out of this question paper. I'm just talking a general chemistry thing. How will you bring it out in a description? Writing a different sentences. Okay. So let's go forward. This section shall include all advantages related to the inventions, all studies. So the study part, which is the table which is being given in this table, which is being given here, it will also be covered. And this will be followed by a list of illustrations or examples. So in examples, when you are writing, so here what is provided is example 1 is production of the compound and example 2 is pharmaceutical composition. Both these examples shall be named. It is better you write it as it is, because you can write first example can be the production thing and second example can be the pharmaceutical composition. There is no problem in writing it as such. And when you are writing, see, right now it is already given in the past tense. Aspirin was dissolved in 400 ml of chloroform, after which the solution was cooled. So this is in past tense, and it is better to write the invention in the past tense only, because we are writing claim. And remember this one more thing, I might have skipped it in my slide. Claims are to be written in the present tense. dissolving it right now, dissolving it, reacting it, or treating it, treating. The words are differently used. So again, do not add any misleading information if it is not provided in the description which is provided to you. Do not add anything. Make sure all the relevant information has been added. Do not skip anything. In present scenario, except for the second paragraph, as I told you, everything is to be covered. You can cover it in your own language. It did not be the description what is provided to you, but it should be everything whatever is provided. It should be there in it. Basically, if you provide the advantages like the hygroscopicity, the gastric problems which are being associated with aspirin, which are not there in this AIA compound. So you can mention it over here. It's better to mention. Also, in detailed description, definitions of the terms used is provided. So I don't think so in this you have any thing to describe, but it is better to give that. If you are using AIA term, then why you are using AIA term? If you are writing it is AIA in the detailed description throughout, then in this beginning of it, write the definition of AIA. What is AIA? AIA used in the detailed description means antipyrate, what it is, aspirin. Aspirin isopropyl compound it is. So even if you are using any short forms, you need to mention it. Okay, these are the short forms I'm using for this compound. Next comes claims of the invention. So after detailed description, there is claims. So claims are a techno-legal sentences which are used to use for the protection. Like whatever you are claiming, you are getting protection only for that, right? So the language used in the claim should be very clear, it should be complete, and it should be supported in the description. So whatever language you are using in the summary of the invention, in the detailed description, same should come in the claim, preferably. Because if it is not there, when you're going back and reading the description, the support should be there, right? And if the same language and consistently you are using the same language, it will be easy, and you will score the marks mostly for the exam. And also in general practice, you need to mention, you need to maintain that consistency when you are drafting a patent. So claim is a single sentence. It has 3 parts: introductory phase, which is also called as preamble of the claim. Second part is transitional phase, which is the link between the introductory phrase and the body. And third is the body of the claim. So very important thing, introductory phrase and the transition phrase are connected by a comma. There is a comma between these two things. And transition phrase, after transition phrase, there is a colon. And after colon, the body comes off, the body of the claims come in the body of the claim. If there are multiple elements there, each and every element you can separate it by semicolon. Okay, let's move ahead. So the introductory phrase identifies the category of the invention. So once you read the introductory phrase, you'll know what the invention is all about. The process for preparation of. For example, a process for preparation of, this is an introductory phrase. Or a pharmaceutical composition, this is an introductory phrase. Later on comes the transition phrase, which is also important in assessing the scope of the claim. It can be restrictive or permissive in nature. So mostly in general practice, comprises or comprising of, this transition phrase is used because this is an open-ended phrase. This is a permissive in nature. It does not exclude whatever elements we have not mentioned in the claim. It does not exclude them. It can comprise of them, the other elements which are not mentioned in the first claim. When you're coming to when you're coming to other transition phrase which are including or consisting of, these are closed and these are restrictive. It does not allow the addition of any other elements in the claim. So it becomes very compact claim. It is not, I won't say it would be it would not give the chance of addition. And if you want that to be, keeping it open ended, the claim would be broader as compared to the other transition phase if you are using. The body of the claim is specific. The body of the claim is a specific description of the exact invention. So in the examples, when I have drafted the claims, I will explain you there. So a compound. So in the present scenario, this 6 claims, in fact, more than the 6 claims can come. I have just, for example, drafted 6 claims so that I can just give the gist of it. First would be the compound claim. It should not be followed by the compound of Formula 1 having analgesic, anti-pyretic, or anti-inflammatory properties. Do not mention that, because compound of Formula 1 is, it is complete enough. And it should be followed by a structure if you have structure, or IUPAC name. Then comes a process for preparation of compound of Formula 1 comprising reacting compound of Formula 2 with acetyl salicylic acid or reactive acid derivative thereof. So this is a very broad claim. Okay, because I have not mentioned any reaction conditions over here or any other compound being used in this reaction. As we have gone through once we go through this reaction, aspirin was dissolved in fluor 100 chloroform. So this chloroform is a solvent used over here. So I have not mentioned it in the claim because it would narrow down my claim unnecessarily. I will only write the reactants. What are the reactants? A and B are the reactants. So when reacting A with B, it gives me a compound of Formula 1. Okay. So when we move forward, so further, solvent has been mentioned over here in the example. There's a dicyclohexyl carbodiamide, which is a coupling agent, which is being used in this reaction. So what I have done is I have written a dependent claim 3, which says the process as claimed in claim 2, wherein the said reaction is carried out in presence of dicyclohexyl carbodiamide. So this is just to show that how to write a dependent claim. This is very narrow claim which I have written here, very, very narrow. So if you have certain different compounds that, different alternatives are also given sometimes. Dicyclohexyl carbodiamide can be used, or instead of that, something else can also be used. So you have to write while writing, okay, if there are 3 components, those are given, like A, B, and C are given. In this can be used in presence of this, the reaction goes forward. And we want to cover all these 3 reactants. Then what we can do is all the 3 we can put up in one single category, or we can write an dependent claim for each one of it. Oops. Then comes a pharmaceutical composition claim, wherein a pharmaceutical composition comprising a pharmaceutically acceptable effective amount of compound of Formula 1 and pharmaceutically acceptable carrier or diluent are used. This is also a very broad claim. If you want to narrow it down, you can specifically mention, wherein what all ingredients are being used in the formulation. Those all can be covered, like cornstarch, lactose, hydroxypropyl cellulose. These all things are being used. So you can mention it and give a very narrow claim to it. Okay, the pharmaceutical effective amount of Formula 1. Along with that, the acceptable carriers can be talc, it can be that lactose, and whatever has been mentioned in the example. Then comes the claim 5, the pharmaceutical composition as claimed in claim 4, wherein the effective amount of the compound administered is of about 0.02 to about 0.08 grams per kg. So this is also been given here. When you read, So in question paper itself, it has been mentioned in some paragraph. See, the pharmaceutical composition in the form such as exemplified here, compound of itself can be administered in the dose of about 0.02 to about 0.08. So we have mentioned the same thing. We have in initial claim, we have written effective amount. Then in next claim, we are writing what is the effective amount. This is the effective amount. Then comes the pharmaceutical composition as claimed in claim 4. So again, my sixth claim is also dependent on the fourth claim, which reads as wherein the composition can be administered orally or parenterally. Again, seventh claim can be orally administered pharmaceutical composition can be a tablet, capsule, pills, whatever is mentioned in the description you have. So the numbers of the claims can be increased this way. If you see the first claim of three independent claims are there, claim 1, 2 and claim 4. And the dependent claims are narrower. Even in process claim, you can, as I have shown you that in process, chloroform is used as a solvent. So if you want one more, if you want to write one more claim over here, it can be a process for preparation of compound of formula 1. Sorry, I'm so sorry. It would be the process as claimed in claim 2, wherein the said reaction is carried out in presence of a solvent. So the chloroform is a chlorinated solvent. So we can write other chlorinated solvents what can be used. But as there is no information that such provided to you, so you better stick to whatever is given in the question paper. Tips for writing claims. First and foremost, as I told you in the beginning, identify the key features of the invention. It's very important to know what your invention is. What are the three main in our invention? There were three main features. Sometimes it might be only related to process. So there might be only one process related claim, independent claim. So identify the key features. Begin drafting of the broadest claim first, which will be the independent claim, and then progress to the narrower claims. Proceed your claims with the short sentence, such as I claim or we claim. It is very important. Even now, when we are filing the patents, it comes examiner objects on this. You have not mentioned I claim, you have not mentioned we claim. So when an inventor is drafting it, it should be I claim. When an applicant is there, we claim, because applicant is a body, like applicant is a company, and it should come as we claim. Check to see each and every claim if it is having an introductory phrase, it is having transition phrase, and the body. The three parts which are important, which we had discussed earlier, they need to be there in each and every claim. Dependent claim should always refer back to the independent claim. Like example, the process as claimed in claim 1. When we are talking about a particular reaction conditions, when we are talking about any solvent, when we are talking about a catalyst which is being used in the reaction and you're writing it in a dependent claim, it should always refer back to the process which is being claimed earlier. So here, the Indian Patent Office needs it to be written in this way: the process as claimed in claim 2. Secondly, the use claims are not allowed in India. So I have not mentioned the use claims as in the it is used as an analgesic, antipyretic, and anti-inflammatory. These are the main points. Then comes the abstract of the invention. Abstract should be the broadest claim, whatever you have claimed, it should come in the abstract and the short paragraph. So it should not be more than 150 words. And if you have a chemical formula which is given in the information provided to you, better you put it down so that it can be connected. In present scenario, abstract can be written as a novel compound of formula. See now again here, novel compound of formula 1 and pharmaceutical novel compound of formula 1 and its use, pharmaceutical use. The compound of formula 1 can be prepared by reacting 1-phenyl 2-methyl, whatever compound of formula 2 with acetyl. So here, first thing I mentioned is compound. is new. Second thing I've mentioned is its process. And third, I've mentioned the use of it. Like, what is it used as? So in abstract, you can mention it, but in claims, you should not mention it. So that brings. So that's it from me. So any questions?